Alright, so what I'm about to do is I'm about to give you guys a nice little Berserk Strife breakdown here. I'm going to explain to you guys in detail what everything does, so that if you want to use a Berserk build, you'll have an idea of what you should be going for. And I'm going to field test it on a monster. Since I'm using a water build, we're going to field test it on a target that's going to put up a bit of a fight, but this is still going to be easy for me to kill, so I can remain in control. We're going without followers for this one for a little more accurate showcase. Alright, before I meal up, I'm going to open up the skill info menu and explain to you guys what's what. Alright, so the Chaotic Gore Magala armor has two skills that are unique to it. Okay. Technically only one now, since Risen Shigaru Magala armor also has the Strife skill, but Risen Shigaru doesn't have Berserk. Chaotic Gore does. So we're going with the bread and butter pairing here, Berserk and Strife. What Berserk does is, whenever you swap to the blue swap scroll, all of your health meter will change into red health, and it's going to degrade until nothing's left. As long as you have red, you can't faint. Which effectively makes you unkillable. You can basically eat any attack that's thrown your way, no matter how strong it is, and not die. You can effectively weather any storm. However, if your health goes all the way to nothing, you will faint on the spot no matter where you are or what you're doing. So caution is advised. Further caution is advised because if you take damage while Berserk's active, your health is going to drain faster and faster. Smaller hits, it's not going to be noticeable. I really notice it after I get sent flying by a really strong attack, so you can take little small hits here and there, that's okay, but if you get hit by a big attack that's going to send you flying, that's going to cause your Berserk health drain to drastically increase. However, this can be reset by simply swapping back to the red scroll and then back to the blue scroll. Now, the skill levels. Level 1, you just activate the bare basic Berserk, and the degradation there is actually pretty fast. The level 2 Berserk slows the speed at which your red health degrades. So, in order to make this viable, you need to have level 2 Berserk, or it's not going to work. Now, on to Strife. This is the partner for Berserk. This is the power couple here. Strife weds perfectly with Berserk because of what it does. As you can see from the description here, it increases elemental attack and critical hit rates in proportion to the length of your red health gauge. So, more red health is stronger. And Chaotic Gore comes with level 3 Strife baked in, which further increases attack and affinity in accordance to the red gauge length, but if you max that out, you get an infinite stamina effect, which is perfect for weapons like the dual blades or the bow, which are very stamina expensive weapons. So, Berserk and Strife marry perfectly together. But, because it also enhances your elemental value, a Berserk Strife build is completely ideal for elemental-focused builds. Now, under normal circumstances, the Berserk and Strife has very minimal ways to counter the degradation. Basically, when your health degrades low enough and your stamina finally starts running out because your red gauge is long enough for the infinite stamina effect, you'd want to swap to red scroll and heal up. But, with some decorations for specific skills, you can actually mitigate this effect and keep your Berserk going longer. Specifically, you would want Kushala Blessing level 3, which allows the recovery to exceed the red portion of the health gauge, so you're getting a constant amount of small health regeneration. And you're also getting a water and ice attack plus 10, so this is really devastating for any water and ice-focused builds. There's one final skill that you would want to effectively manage the health drain best of all. A nice little skill called Blood Right, which a proportion of damage dealt is converted to health when striking a broken monster part. Level 1 is the bare minimum. It works. But levels 2 and 3, which recover more health, are far more desirable. Now, of course, for Critical Eye 6, you get that baked in. Resentment level 5, you get that baked in, which is a plus 25 raw attack when you have red health. So if you're in Berserk, you've got full red health. That means you automatically get a constant attack plus 25. Now, of course, you get the critical boost. You get it level 2 baked in, but you can add a decoration to add that up to level 3. So you get the critical hit damage increased to 40%. Critical elements, you'd have to add that in with decorations and augments to really make this work. Level 3, of course, gives your elemental damage a 15% boost. And Critical Eye, level 6. That gives you a plus 30 affinity, which, yes, Strife will stack and enhance that. So specifically, when you go to Blue Scroll, I've seen that with this setup, you get 50 affinity at bare minimum. Now, a very popular skill to augment into this Berserk Strife build is Mail of Hellfire. What this does is it's basically a trade-off offense skill. It decreases your defenses, but increases your attack. Specifically, during the Red Scroll, your defense gets reduced, but your raw attack goes up. You swap to the Blue Scroll, your elemental resistances get cut, but your elemental damage goes way up. Higher levels boosts it to drastically high levels. Which, yes, stacks with all the other elemental buffs like Strife, Water Attack, the Kushala Blessing, and yes, the Elemental Attack. Water Attack 5 for this build, you get Water Attack plus 20%, bonus plus 4, which, again, stacks with everything else. So, in this build, I'm technically getting Water Attack plus 30%, with a bonus plus 4. Which, yeah, is pretty terrifying. And then add Mail of Hellfire into that. Now, Coalescence. This is actually a pretty interesting skill. It temporarily buffs your attack power after recovering from a blight or an abnormal status. And this is any abnormal status, any elemental blight. So if you get stunned and recover from that, there's Coalescence. You get Fire Blight, you recover from that, there's Coalescence. You get the Frenzy Virus from the other skill Bloodlust, which I'm going to go over later, you get Coalescence. Now, the level 3 version of this skill, which also comes baked in with the full Chaotic Gore set, you get Attack plus 18 for Raw, Elemental Attack Power plus 4, and Status Build-up up 15%. Which, yes, again, it stacks with everything. Element Exploit. Now, this is one you only get a level 1 baked in, but you can add a decoration easily to enhance that. The level 3 version of this skill, it's similar to Weakness Exploit, but instead of increasing your critical hit rate on a weak spot, it increases the elemental damage you're doing when striking a weak point. Which, yes, marries with Weakness Exploit.
When I used dual blade, grinning face with sweat. I tried to use chaotic set, and when I used dual blade, my average damage was around.
Well, Juke, I hope you're gonna find this little video essay helpful. I don't often do build breakdowns and stuff like this on live stream. But yeah, Element Exploit, you're going to basically have a 15% elemental damage when striking a weak point, which stacks on everything else. Burst. Burst is a very good skill for the high-grade DPS weapons that excel in rapid strike. So again, bow or dual blades. That's basically what a lot of people choose to use with the Berserk builds. What Burst does is continuously landing hits gradually increases attack and elemental attack. The amount of increase depends on the weapon. Level 3 version is on attack hit +5. Now hit 5 successive times for a huge stat boost. And this stat boost stays in effect as long as you're attacking the monster. As long as you're landing hits, you've got that big buff. We've already covered Strife. Now on to Weakness Exploit. This is another really popular skill to maximize your damage. It increases the critical hit rate of attacks that exploit a monster weak point. I've got the level 2 version, which gives me a 30+, but a lot of people want to optimize that for the level 3, which gives you a 50 critical hit rate. So if you wanted to go in with a... Okay, so I've mentioned that the critical eye 6 plus the Strife when you go into Blue Scroll, that gives you 50 affinity. With Weakness Exploit free, you would get a full 100% affinity if you're hitting the weak point of a monster. Which is pretty broken. Every single hit that you're landing is a critical hit, which means you're constantly triggering critical boost and critical element. And if you're hitting the weak points, you're also triggering Element Exploit as well, which stacks with Burst as long as you're DPSing, Strife if you're in Blue Scroll, and all these other buffs. So you're getting a very broken damage output here, people. Now on to Bloodlust. You get a level 2 of this baked in with Chaotic Gore. The effects of the Frenzy Virus change. Health is gradually reduced, but you gain a variety of effects. Frenzy Virus occurs regularly while in combat. And yes, this Frenzy Virus does increase the rate at which your Berserk degradation drains. So be careful. But just like the Frenzy under normal circumstances, you cure it the same way. You hit the monster over and over again until you eventually overcome the Frenzy. But this time, with Bloodlust, while you have the Frenzy, you're getting a raw attack buff, you're getting an evasion buff, and you're decreasing the stamina that you use. And once you recover from the Frenzy, all of your red vitality is completely restored, and you get an affinity buff. So if you were attacking in Berserk while your health is all red, and say your health's down, and it's almost gone, like you're about to die, and you overcome the Frenzy with Bloodlust, all your red health gets restored, so your red health meter gets completely refilled all over again. Paralysis attack, I got this from an augment. It's not really useful for this build because it focuses on element. Evade Extender's nice, got that from an augment as well. Bloodright, again, that's an essential skill here. Foray, it's a take or leave attack buff. I've got that on my talisman. It's kind of your preferences here. So, Foray, it buffs your raw attack and your critical hit rate when attacking a large monster afflicted by poison, paralysis, or any elemental blight. So, level 1, it's just a raw attack plus 10. Level 2, it's still the raw attack plus 10, but now you're getting affinity plus 10%. Level 3 is the most impressive with affinity plus 20% and attack power plus 15. But again, it's conditional. You're only going to get this type of buff if you're hitting the monster while it's poisoned, paralyzed, or hit with any elemental blight. So you're not going to be able to get this as a constant thing, unless you're using maybe a weapon that's got poison baked in as well, so maybe the Flaming Espinos dual blades, or paralysis baked in like the Kizu dual blades, which have electric and paralysis, so that could fit in with this build. Or maybe one of your teammates, if you're hunting in multiplayer, has paralysis weapons or poison weapons, or maybe you've got one of those beetles, like the mud beetle, the fire beetle, and you hit it with an elemental blight. But yeah, so basically the core skills you're going to want for this build are as follows. Critical Eye, Resentment, and specific element attack like water attack, fire attack, thunder attack, ice attack, dragon attack, you want that to match the element of your current weapon. You're going to want critical boost free, critical element free, Kushala Blessing free, Mail of Hellfire free, Coalescence free, element exploit free, burst free, strife free, at least weakness exploit 2. Optimal thing here is weakness exploit free, Bloodlust 2 or higher, Berserk 2 needs to be the requirement or else it's useless, and any level of Blood Right. Alright. Now on to the items. Basically, you're going to want the Immunizer as one of your core items here because it boosts the rate at which your red health is regenerated, which does stack with Kushala Blessing. Now, you can bring other items like the Potion, Mega Potion, Max Potion, bring them along because you can't have too many healing items with a Berserk build. You can bring Mega Demon Drug and Mega Armor Skin just to be safe because a stat buff's a stat buff, people. Sushi Fish, that's good. Some people do bring Gourmet Fish, but apparently the data says that the Gourmet Fish effect remains active for only 90 seconds, so it's very short. Basically, Immunizer is one of the requirements here. Now, on to the meals. We're going to Motley Mix here so I can kind of hopefully enhance the probability of the skill handling, of the skill activating. There's a very specific Dango set that you're going to want for this, that a lot of people swear by. Alright, so we've got free Dango tickets. Who have been happy for one for this demonstration. So this is your Dango set. You're going to want Super Recovery Dango on top, Dango Booster in the middle, and Dango Medic High on the bottom. And you're going to want to use Hopping Skewers and a Dango ticket so you can enhance the probability at which Super Recovery Dango 4 is active. The reason why you want 4 is because the 4 version is health continues to recover over time constantly. So this means you're getting constant health regeneration just like Kushala Blessing that stacks with Kushala Blessing, even in combat. Now, Dango Booster. You get attack and defense buff increased for a short period of time after eating, so basically you get a starting stat boost at the beginning of a quest, which is pretty good. Now, Dango Medic High, level 1 is a moderate increased health recovery from items, which is pretty good. A lot of people say that this Dango is like the skill recovery up, which increases your health recovery from items as well, but instead of it being a decoration on your armor that's eating up slots for decorations, this is in food form. So you're going to want to... Alright, so I'm going to rename this Dango set just so it's easier for us to identify it. We're going to name it Berserk. We're naming it Berserk Buddy, because if you're a Berserk user like me, this setup is going to be your buddy. It's going to be your ride or die. And Super Recovery Dango is officially active. So now, we are officially ready to engage the target, Magma Almudron. So now you're about to get a little demonstration of how everything works together. I'm going to stop by the item box here to pick up some healing items, because with a Berserk build, you can't have too many. You can't be too careful. Now, you're also going to want to have a cat with you that is of the healing type, and you'd want it to have the secret support move, Healing Clover Bat. Alright, so we're going to chug our Immunizer before anything else happens. We're going to activate the Felvine so that the Healing Clover Bat gets activated faster. Now we're in Berserk mode. Look at this. The health degradation because of the Immunizer, level 3 Kushala Blessing, and Super Recovery Dango 4, all 3 of those are active at once, so the degradation is basically a non-threat. Look at that. We're able to charge into this with minimal fear. Now, I'm going to want to do the thing where I attack the monster over and over again and overcome the Frenzy, because the Frenzy Drain will cancel out your Kushala Blessing, your Immunizer, and your Super Recovery Dango. But as you saw, upon beating the Frenzy, your health is fully restored and the degradation stops. And if you Spiral Slash, look at this damage! 328 was the strongest last 2 hits. Now, we're going to Wall Slam a few times, just for the big damage. And a lot of the parts are already broken. The back, the tail, and the head. Now, level 1 Blood Right, I'm basically restoring health with every attack that I land. And with everything in effect, my raw attack's at 387, and my water element's at 290. So that's pretty terrifying. If I were a monster and a hunter were coming at me with this kind of build, I would be running in fear. Now, I've been sent flying twice, so my degradation has increased, so I'm just going to do a quick little tag in and out of the red scroll and back to the blue scroll, so I can just no stress this whole thing. Now I can do that again because I've been sent flying again. Do it again because I got sent flying yet again. Basically, you're going to want to swap between the red and blue scrolls every time you get sent flying, but you want to make sure that you're safe, so that way you don't get one-shotted when you go into red scroll, because your health is going to be very low. Well, not a good demonstration, but you get it. And quest result here, this is 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 1 second, but if we round down to the nearest minute, it's still 3 minutes. So this is a very impressive build. So if I were to burst right now, yeah, 402 raw attack while Frenzy's active, and about 297 water element. And if I overcome, it's 405 raw and 294 element, and 75 affinity. 75 affinity plus 30 affinity from the weakness exploit still means 100% affinity on a weak spot. So this is a very deadly build. Alright. So that's going to do it for the water elemental version of this build. I'm going to show you at least the weapons for the other builds, that way you at least have an idea of what dual blade models you should be using for this. Alright, so we're going to go over to the equipment box. What I've got are the mud shredders for my water weapon. This is the Almudron tree. And the rampage decoration you're going to want to use for a lot of this is the Bane Jewel, which triggers a different element exploit, which slightly increases damage when exploiting a foe's elemental weakness. So say you hit a monster that's weakest to water with a water elemental weapon, like I did to Magma Almudron, you're getting a big buff from that. So these are my decorations. Stream Jewel +2, Shockproof Jewel +1. Shockproof Jewel is only really good for multiplayer missions. Not really any point to having it if you're doing solo stuff, but it's nice to have it on hand. My helm, I've got Critical Element Jewel +4, Critical Jewel 2. My chest armor, I don't have a decoration in the level 3 slot here, but I have Iron Shell Jewel 1. I've got... Alright, now onto my arm vambraces. Now, that level 1 slot you see there, under normal circumstances, that is not there. I got that from a randomizer in the Curious Crafting for my armor, which gave me a level 1 critical element and a level 1 decoration slot. So I've got the Iron Shell Jewel 1 there as well as a Bloodening Jewel free for Blood Right. Now, the augments on my waist armor, I got a level 4 decoration slot with Evade Extender, and in that level 4 slot, I've got Element Exploit Jewel +4, and my third, most important, Iron Shell Jewel 1 for the level 3 Kushala Blessing. Now, my leg armor, I've got the Hard Stream Jewel free for the water buff, and technically the specific element buff to match the elemental weapon that you are using. And I've got Mail of Hellfire on my legs, my chest, and my head. Now, the paralysis attack, again, is useless for this specific build. I don't need it. Talisman, thanks to the randomizer, I've got the Weakness Exploits 2, Foray 1, and Burst free. But yeah, this is my water build. If I'm using a fire build, then I've got the Magma Almudron dual blades, the Magma shredders, similar decoration setup as to all my other stuff. Still with the LM Bane jewel free. Now onto my electric build. I've got the Zenogre dual blades with my Rampage decoration as currently anti-aerial jewel, which helps me deal with the flying elder dragons like Kushala Daora. However, feel free to change it based upon the target you're up against. Like, say you're up against a crab like Daimyo Hermitar or Shogun Sianatar, you're going to want to change this to anti-aquatic jewel. If you're up against Garen Golem, Fanged Exploit Jewel is going to be your friend. Wyverns, like, say, and this actually works on Leviathans too, so Somnacant, the Bubble Fox Mizusune, this is going to be your friend against them. Now, Ice build, I have the Kushala Daora dual blades, Daora's Ventus. It's basically the same little build-up. And Dragon, it's the Crimson Glow Valstrax version, and my weapon augments are basically uniform. So I only need to show you one for you to get the idea of what's going on here. Because I've made it uniform for all of them. You're going to want to have all the anomaly slots unlocked as you can. You're going to want to have raw attack boost level 1 and elemental boost levels 7 to 8. Yep. So, yeah, that's the elemental setup you're going to want. Now, for the Chaotic Gore Magala armor itself... The thing about Chaotic Gore Magala armor is that you need to be Master Rank 10 at least to unlock it. So, if you're starting out as a Master Rank 1, you are never going to see this until you reach Master Rank 10. Master Rank 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 6, you're not going to get it. You need to be Master Rank 10 at bare minimum. And the quest that, of course, you do, you want to engage the specific Master Rank 6-star mission, Falling into Chaos. That's the Chaotic Gore Magala mission that you want to do, and to unlock the urgent quest, you go over... When it's available, you go and talk to Paz the Chevalier. When she has the urgent available, then you talk to Chiche to register the urgent quest. You accept the quest, you beat Chaotic Gore, you get the armor unlocked, you farm it a bit, you get the full armor set, and boom, you've got the full Chaotic Gore. Now, for the Iron Shell Jewel 1 decoration that I went over, there's a way you can unlock it, but you need to fight a Risen Kushala Daora. This is the mission you want, Risen Kushala Daora. However, even if you're Master Rank 10, you are not going to unlock this under normal circumstances. The proper channel method that you do it, based upon the actual data that I've got, is to be about Master Rank 120. And it can show up on Anomaly Investigations if you're levels 111 at bare minimum. Now, if you're doing this in multiplayer and you've got some friends that have progressed further than you, then if you're MR10, you can still fight a Risen Kushala Daora, but you have to have one of your friends post a quest instead. Exactly. And then, once you beat that, you're going to probably have to farm Berry off a few times for the Great Spikes, because... Here's the recipe for the Iron Shell Jewel 1 decoration. You want Sovereign Jewel 2, Daora Rise Gem 1, Berry Off Great Spike 2, and Daora Cortex free. But, because you want free of those decorations, you need to multiply this all by free. So in grand total, you want Sovereign Jewel 6, Daora Rise Gem Free, Bury Off Great Spike 6, and Daora Cortex 9. Now for the Element Exploit Jewel, you'd want to fight a Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax, but you need to be about rank 160. So same deal as the Risen Kushala quest. If you haven't unlocked it, maybe have one of your friends post a quest so you can do it with them. But yeah, that's basically the build breakdown. If you augment, you're going to want to use Curious Crafting, Basic Augment to get Mail of Hellfire on your stuff. Don't use the other stuff like Stability, because that's pure defense. Skills Plus, a little too unstable. You don't want to lower your skills that you got. Same with Slots Plus. Alright, I hope that you guys found this breakdown a little helpful. And this is going to be on my YouTube